So right now I am in my Power Apps developer environment, and what we are going to do, we are going to start by creating a new responsive canvas app, and we are going to start from blank. I'm going to select the application layout as responsive. So let's wait for the application to load. So as you can see, my application is ready. Let's wait for this loading to complete. And we are presented with this welcome to Power App Studio pop-up. So before we move into the demo for the card control, the new card control, first thing we want to make sure, do we have our experimental feature enabled or not? So as you can see, we are seeing those classic controls, but not the modern ones. So that means the experimental, the modern control feature is not enabled for us. So to enable that, we can click from this settings gear icon from here left side bottom, or we can do it from the settings gear icon from here. We have to move to the update section, and then from this new tab we have to make sure this modern controls and theme toggle button is enabled. So when I go and click on this modern controls and themes as on and click close for this dialog, as you can see, I can now see the new controls which are the modern controls. For example, this table control, icons, grid container, and the card preview. Okay, for this demo I'm going to use the card control, which is a new modern control. So if we move into the screens, I have one screen, that is screen 1 at the moment, which is having three containers into it. That is footer controller, footer container, main container, and the header container. I'm going to remove this footer container. So now we have two containers, that is one is the header container and the second one is main container. In the header container, I am going to insert the new header layout or header component, and that particular header container will have my screen name as my title. So I'm going to change it to modern controls. So let me just put that in this way, modern control. Okay. The next thing, in the main container, I am going to insert the card control. So this is the modern card control that we are going to talk about that in this particular demo. This card controller or this card control has several properties which are being displayed in this right hand side panel. First one is direction. There are two type of directions available. One is vertical and one is horizontal. So currently by default the vertical direction has been selected. If I make it horizontal, you can see the change in the control, how the text is being displayed. The title field is whatever title we are seeing for whatever title we want to add for our card. So I'm going to make it as modern card control. The subtitle is the text which is available just beneath this title text, right? So I'm going to say it as clean, simple card control, right? So as you can see, the clean simple card control is available as a subtitle, and the description field is something which is going to be available for the card beneath the subtitle. So I'm going to add something like use this control to display the text and description for the users, right? So those text like description value whichever I have added is going to be displayed like this. The next property is image property. So by default, it's set as null, but it also points to a default image, which you can see here in the middle of the card. I can upload my own image or I can select from stock images. So let me go and try to select one of the stock images, and let me try to select this one, and anyone you can select. For the demo purpose, I am selecting that particular image. Now once the image is being selected, there are other options for image placement, like before header. That means this is the header portion of the card, and we want to display our image before header or after header. When I select an after header, the position has been switched, so the text part is above and that image part is at the bottom. I'm going to make it before header for now. Then we have the image styles. There are different type of styles like fill, fit, stretch, tile, or center. If I select fit, that particular image will be fit with its original height and width and going to be set into it. We can change it to stretch, tile, or any other, but I'm going to make it fill for now. Then we have header image as none. Okay, so what does the header image means? If we go and just hover over it, it will say the header image to display behind the title area of the card, right? So when I go and select the header image to, let's say, any of the stock images, for example, I'm going to select uh, let's wait for it to load. Let's say I'm going to take one of the stickers, let's say this one, and click on insert. Notice that header image is being changed, this image, right? This card has very good properties. If I go in advanced, we can see the accessible label for header image. We have header image accessible label. For image, we have the image accessible label, right? So all type of different properties we already have. And another property which we want to highlight in here is this on select. So these cards are clickable. By default, the on select is false, so the card is not clickable at the moment, right? But if I go and make some changes, like if I go and make it true, or let's say launch something else or some new window or something, we can use that particular property in that case, right? Other properties which we are having is size and position, and another thing is border radius. So currently the border radius is set to 2012, but if I go and make it 30, so what you will see is the border radius for this particular card control. And also we have different options of, let me just select that card control of drop shadow. Let's say it's regular. If I make it bold, then you will see the shadow effect for the card itself. Okay, so this is one of the options that we have as a card control in our uh, this is the card control that we can use as in properties. So there are different type of, let me just go and try to run this screen. So you can see these are the, this is the card control. If I go and make some of the changes for this, for example, I select this card control, and if I change the display mode, right? So there are three display modes available for us. Edit, that means how it is behaving right now. If I make it view, it's not clickable even if I have that on select property. And if I select disabled, that means the card is disabled, I cannot perform any of the options. So just to see this, what I will going to do is I will going to select this on select property to, let's say, unnotify message. I'm going to select, say, the card is clicked, something like this, and I want to make this as notification type as success. Okay, so when I run this now, and when my property is in edit mode, when I click on it, you can see the card is clicked, it is giving me as a success. If I go and change the property to disabled, let's say I'm going to make it as, instead of edit, I make it as disabled and run it again. You can see I see these not usable or disabled icon. So that means the card is disabled. And if I make it as view instead of disabled and run it again, you can see the card is enabled, but I cannot click it because it's only a view mode. The another property that we can use is visible property. If I want to show the card or hide it, then I can simply turn on and off this visible property for the card. Okay, so let me try to add some more cards into it. Let me just go and try to insert another card. Yeah, and I am going to make it as horizontal, and let me just put it on here. Right, I add one more. I'm going to make it as vertical itself, but I want the image to be after header, so something like that. If I want, I can make it stretchable as well as take the flexible height. So in that way I can also set those values up for my card control basically. So this is how we can use the card control. Now I'm going to showcase you one live example how we can use these card controls to display and work with the SharePoint list properties. So for that purpose, I'm going to add a new screen, and that screen is going to be a header and footer auto layout screen. That is my screen 2, right? I'm going to remove this footer part. So now we have this header part as well as the main container as a main part. In the header container, I'm going to add my header component or the header layout component, and I'm going to give it a name as I'm going to give it name as modern card control demo, right? I'm also going to select uh, another control into this main controller, that is my card control. But before going to do that, I'm going to add a vertical gallery in this main container. Let's wait for that vertical gallery to be added, right? And before we go and set the layout for this or data for this gallery control, vertical control, what we are going to do is we are going to change the layout from image, title and subtitle to blank, and I'm going to select my SharePoint site, that is my SharePoint site, and I'm going to select one of my dev food chain site, and one of my list, that is upload files list, is a document that is actually a document library. So let me just show you that document library as well. Just a moment. So when I go and click on edit data, that particular document library upload files will is going to be opened. So this, for the image portion, what we are going to do is we are going to set the image value to this item dot thumbnail dot large. So the the value of the thumbnail images are going to be displayed. So all these images are having its thumbnail, so those are being displayed. And for the header image, we are going to do the same thing, this item dot thumbnail dot small. So in this way we can have the thumbnails for both the places, like large image as well as my small image itself. Now the next thing what I wanted to do is make this particular card clickable. So what I will do is I will select the card, and from the advanced I will select the on select property, and in the on select property I will try to navigate this item. So I will select a launch function, and in this launch function I am going to pass this item dot link to item properties value, so that it will go and launch that particular link to item properties value into the new tab. Now let's go and try to run this. So this is one of the items those are available, right? If I go and click on it, it will go and open up that particular item in the new tab. And as you can see, that item is being displayed. The other cool feature is right now we are using those containers, those are responsive. So if I go and change the layout of my screen, as you can see, it is adaptive, right? So if I go and change the layout, it is being displayed in this way. If I go and change to iPad, let's say, so it is being displayed like this. If I change the orientation, it is taking the space. That, and all of these things are being done using a single control of Power Apps. We are not using multiple controls. Okay, that's it for this video. And if that helped you understand modern car controls in the Power Apps, please like this video. It really supports the channel. If you have any questions or ideas, drop them in a comment below and I personally read and reply to them. If you found this useful, share it with your team or anyone working on Power Apps, and don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for more real world Power Apps tips and tutorials. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.